This is Han Solo, and I'm going to be keeping you company for the next few hours right here on the Midnight Shift.
It's time to BS.
I want to start off by putting the man on the pedestal first. Not me, you. When I first came to Belly Up over 2 years ago, actually, there was very few people that have given me a chance in that regard. And I pitched a phone call to this man out of the blue and was like, hey, how am I doing? And you gave me some compliments that I have still told people to this day. That phone call was just under 2 years ago. I was on my way home from work, and I called you scared out of my mind because I wanted to make my time at Belly Up worth it. Worth it. And since then, we've had a few conversations. You know, you've always been real with me since day one. Always been real, and that is how you roll. You've always been real and will continue to be real. And the last time we spoke, I'm not going to lie, I was a little ticked off, but then I sat on it and I said, you know what? Maybe he's right. So, and you have been my biggest motivator outside of my fiance in this entire podcasting journey the last couple years doing Time to BS. So I thank you for that, Jared. So Jared Klim, Korner Booth Pod, welcome to the Department of BS once again, dude. How you been?
I'm okay, man. It's been a crazy couple months between Belly Up and personal life, professional stuff, all that. It's been absolutely insane, but you know, I'm happy to see all the improvements and upgrades you've been making for Time to BS, and to see you really progressing, man. It's I kind of take it as like a coaching role here at Belly Up, trying to like help podcasts kind of go. Obviously, there's ones who kind of like buzz off Jared, and I'm like, all right, whatever, you do you, man, and see how it works. And I sit there watching from the top rope, just kind of giggling when they keep screwing up, and it's funny to me. I'm petty like that, but I love, my favorite though is seeing shows like you and shows like Third and 10, other shows like I've kind of either had a hand on or off in, and seeing how they progressed. And that is like my favorite thing about this job, more or less, even talking sports. I love helping other podcasts get better at what they do best, because that's honestly the best part about it. It's a little reward seeing the show improve. So I'm very happy that I lit a fire under your ass, and so far so good, brother. It's good to see the progress you've been making.
Dude, I really do appreciate it, seriously, because, you know, at first glance, you know, we can go over what you told me and stuff like that, but at first I was hesitant and resistant because I'm stubborn. I'm very stubborn. And but then after, thank you for admitting it to me. But
I'm 50% Polish. I'm half stubborn as it is, so it's gonna
we're gonna have a great time. But
dude, I played an entire game on Sunday with a pulled hamstring. Like there's like stupid things I do on a weekly basis that I keep forgetting. That I'm like, hey, you're not 25 anymore. You're 30. You kind of have to get your crap together. It's like, oh, hey, let me go play baseball for 4 hours with a sprained hammy in the 97-degree heat.
I have a story for you. So I deadlift a lot. And
scary exercise. I refuse. I flat out refuse. Unless it's a hex bar, I refuse.
So I pulled my hip completely out of place a couple weeks ago. So I'm basically not crippled, but it still hurts every now and then. I was deadlifting 415.
Oh, apparently my screen is frozen. Can you still hear me though?
Yeah, I can hear you. You're good. Refresh the camera. You're good. I can edit it.
Oh, you're fine.
I can edit it. You're good.
Yeah.
Thank God for editing. Thank God for that.
So weird.
You're good.
Yeah, okay, we're good. We're back. Yeah,
You're good.
Dude, deadlifting scares the daylights out of me. I'll bench and squat and overhead press and box jump, run sprints and chin-ups all day. Miss me with that. I'll do tire flips until my hands are bleeding. I refuse to do deadlifts.
Oh, I love the gym too much, and she screams at me like, you gotta stop deadlifting so much. I'm like, why?
I want you to, so this is just my thing. It's something, one of the guys actually went on Rogan and talked about this. It's like, deadlifting for non-power lifters is not worth the stress. Now, if you want to deadlift with like a hex bar, oh yeah, smartest thing you can do, because you get all the benefits and none of the downfall. The thing is, it's like, oh yeah, I deadlift 500 pounds. I'm like, yeah, how's your back and hips feel there, dude?
Horrible.
That's what I said. Like I was talking to Lance back when I used to do hardscape sales as my day job, and I was talking to a customer once. So yeah, I go to this gym, I go to that gym. I go to a very well-known, respected powerlifting and training gym in Connecticut. It's one of the highest rated ones in the state, and I go there because the competitive atmosphere. I feel like I'm going into like a college training facility. I feel like when I walk in there, I am expected to put work in. If I don't put work in, I'm embarrassed when I leave there. Anyway. Like my buddy who's now training to be Army Special Forces dragged me in there kicking and screaming. And I have been there for a year and a half, and I love it. I've lost 60 pounds going there. Woo! And it is some of the best workouts I've ever had in my life. Anyway, so I was talking with this guy who goes to like Edge Fitness, like, it's a chain. I used to go to the Edge all the time. Yeah. The Connecticut Edges are all overpacked, overcrowded, underfunded. It's all, the same crap. So he's like, oh yeah, I deadlift 550. I'm like, yeah, hey, Slick, how do your hips feel and your back? Like, oh, I feel great. I'm 300. I was like 290 this one. I'm like, I'm 295. I get out of bed feeling like $1 million. I mean, I got a beer gut, but at least I feel better. This dude's like limping around my work site looking for like rocks and stuff. And I'm like, deadlifting to me is the most ego lift of ego lifts. It is the biggest one where you're kind of just like, yeah, I can pick stuff up. Dude, I am a mover right now. I literally just picked up with a bum hamstring today, I think a 600 pounds like dresser with another guy. Just right up out the door.
Oh my God.
That's the thing. It's like at the end of the day, right? Like that's not real functional strength. Even a bench press to a certain extent isn't functional. Squatting you can get away with because you make that motion every time you run, jump, walk, whatever. Bench pressing, if you do it with dumbbells, becomes functional because then you're using stabilizer muscles and everything else. But deadlifting, what drives me nuts, do like a hanging clean. Do like a hang cleans. Like
the hang clean, yeah.
Pick it up, catch it, and push. If you want, do some crazy stuff like that. Because that flipping something up, using a power clean, using your explosiveness and your fast twitch muscles to get like let's say like 185 pounds up. That's functional. In football, when we used to do train, I played at varsity for like 2 years, varsity for a year and a half, JV for 2.5, freshman for 1, whatever. I honestly, I'd love when my coaches tell me otherwise because I can't remember at this point. Too many headshots. Anyway, so like I remembered our coaches telling us deadlifting is the dumbest exercise you could do as a football player. I'm like, yes, I agree, and the science behind it makes sense. There's no function. You're not going to go up to your lineman and pick up your guy. Baseball, which is why I play now in like an adult men's league, where I actually legit train for baseball because to me, it's something to train for. And baseball training is very similar to functional strength training because a lot of it's movement and fluidity and flexibility and like functional transfer of strength.
Ooh.
And so I look at all these things and none of these, basketball included, have deadlifting anywhere in their training program. The only where you see it is like sumo wrestling, I think. That's it.
If even that.
So I get why you do it, okay? And I get why, but this is just my personal, and I kind of want to go on a rant about this because like.
Please do, you have time.
Deadlifting to me is like having a lifted Jeep and never going off-road.
Oh my God, I know so many people that have lifted Jeeps or lifted trucks.
I have a Silverado, right? I drive a Silverado. That is my truck.
Yeah.
I don't have a lift kit on right now, and if anybody knows Silverados, at least the 2013 through 2019 models have a very low engine block.
Yep.
I won't go off road with it because I'm afraid I'm going to scrape the daylights out of it because my dumb ass will miss something.
I respect that.
When I lift it at the end of the summer or early next year, I'll have no problem going off road with it because then I know I've got an extra 2 to 3 inches of clearance. So it's now 1.5 inches instead of just under a foot of clearance off the ground. So that's like, it's the same kind of premise where you look at like, hey, what are you using this for? I run 3 miles or 2 to 3 miles 3 times a week. Why? Because it's healthy for my heart, healthy for my joints, healthy for my legs. Also, it translates to baseball when I've got to run 20 feet that way to go cut off a throw from the outfield, then jog back, run into the dugout, and then I hit a double in the gap, and I got to haul ass to second base. That's functional to me. Running sprints, functional. Box jumps, I got to explode off 2 legs to hit a baseball, right? Or pitch or whatever. So I'm all into functional usage of the muscle and the environment you're using it in. I have miss me. The only one that is not functional I do is bicep curls because come on, curls for the girls. That's the only reason you do it for. But like at the end of the day, there's no functional reason for deadlifts. So when people are like, "Oh, what do you deadlift?" I'm like, I don't care. I don't deadlift. They're like, "Oh, that's weak." And I'm like, have fun with your back problems, bro. Like my back problems came from lack of core strength. I could care less about your deadlift, dude.
You just made me question 6 years of lifting.
Well, okay, so here's the thing: is like, Dan, I said this. A girl at my gym, she's one of the girls there, and me and her like, she's a trainer, and we'll shoot the shit every time I come in. And I told her the other day, I was like, listen, I've gone through this cycle of get too fat, lose 50 to 60 pounds, be great for about a year, gain it back, and vice versa. I've done it 3 times since I got out of college, since I was 20 years old, right?
Yep.
I hopefully this is the third and final time, or fourth and final, whatever you want to equate it as. And the biggest difference is 1, I don't drink as much alcohol. 2, I don't eat as much bad food. I've understood like at age 30, the best thing I can do is put more quality food in my body, like vegetables, high quality meat, protein powder. Creatine is amazing for muscle recovery, especially north of the age of 30. Especially a guy like me who's done blue collar work since he was 20 years old, or 16 technically. It's all about little things like that. So I'm all about like not only promoting longevity. I want to feel like I'm 25 at age 30, which is how I feel now, until I'm in my 40s. I don't see why I can't do that if I am smart about everything. Like I talk to guys who are lifting and working at the gym who are 39, 45 years old and are in phenomenal shape and they feel great. And I always ask him, what's the deal? He goes, eat great, cut back on the drinking, take the right supplements, and just keep moving. And I'm like, because a body that stays in motion stays healthy. A body that stops and does things like I equate a lot of my lower back problems that I had last year to my sales job that I had for the past year and a half, where like I was sitting on my ass on my computer making phone calls instead of getting up, walking around, whatever. Now I have a little bit of a kind of second wind here as a mover to kind of, I'm working, running around, moving every day. It's great for the next couple of weeks while I'm doing this, while I'm looking for a new job. That's awesome. My job, I had all my temp jobs have been active like work, and it's really helped me cut weight. So I'm starting to realize this whole new philosophy of, hey, listen, like you just keep moving. Go have 2 beers with your boys tonight at the bar. Go get some nachos and wings. Just you get what you give, man. You better put out the work if you're going to eat that much food. So
be responsible, yeah.
Exactly. Listen, go get drunk with your friends. As long as you obviously don't drive, but the next day, yeah, sweat it out. Go for a walk. Day after, you better get back in the gym to go put the work in. Life is too short to not enjoy yourself. So I think, honestly, that philosophy of like, hey, listen, like you work hard and you be respectful of your body once you put into it. Go have fun, but, you know, enjoy yourself. Like, seriously, like it's this weird balance. And I think the workout culture that's erupted now, like my generation, older millennials into you Gen Zers, like older Gen Zers, it's like there's the most that have given up drinking. And the scariest part is only 60% of it is voluntary. The other 40%, I heard, this may be a completely skewed stat that I heard, approximately like somewhere between 20 to 40% of it is had to go to AA or NA or something like that. I'm like, dude, that's insane. So like, I look at this and this whole philosophy of like, hey, listen, just enjoy yourself. Like I had a guy driving home with me today, on my job, talking about how he quit drinking. He's like, give up the beer. I'm like, dude, I enjoy the taste of beer. Like that's the thing, but like I also enjoy not being hungover in the morning. So
I enjoy whiskey, just not
I love
morning
bourbon
after.
I enjoy bourbon whiskey so much, but it's like at the same time, it's like I know what my limit is.
Yeah, I used to. Well, not used to, but I had a crazy drink combination with Jack and gin.
Oh God, no!
Are you ready to hear me out?
Oh my Lord, I'm already crying a little bit.
So it was a third gin and 2/3 Jack. I called it Jack and Gin Went Down the Hill.
Yeah, because I feel like that's where your liver is going. Oh my God! What the hell? Did you learn this from one of your fellow like union guys, or was this something you picked up in high school?
I did it. This is my idea.
Oh God, that's dementingly horrifying. Oh my God.
Oh, jeez.
Like I got a confession just for hearing that.
Where's your Bible when you need it?
No, I'm just gonna go sit in the freaking church on Saturday. Right, please forgive me for the fact what I just heard. That's awful.
I got it right here.
Oh yeah, see, mine's upstairs.
Oh jeez.
Crap, that's too much.
I don't do that much.
I don't even do like Long Island iced teas or anything like that. I stick to my basic food groups of just beer, either like light domestic, like a Miller Lite, Coors Light, Coors. Maybe I'll mix in a garage beer if they got it, or Outlaw Lager, like something like that's lower on the IP on the scale. Maybe a Sam Summer Ale. I like things that are like Mango Cart, things that are around like 100 to 150 calories or less. Kind of just a light flavor. You can drink a couple of them, not feel bad about yourself.
Yep.
Or I go with the high test IPAs that are like 8 or 9% that just hit you in the teeth a little bit. I enjoy those. Or even like the lower end IPAs are like 6 or 5.5. If it tastes good, I like it. Or I just do bourbon because I know what I'm getting. Anything from like low end Knob Creek Maker's Mark up to like I've had like Weller 12 year, which is phenomenal. My best friend's wedding, actually, the club pro at the golf course walked in. He goes, "Hey, I heard you guys got some good bourbon, good whiskey in here." I'm like, "Yeah, you want some?" It was Nelson Breyer Green Batch, by the way, the best Tennessee whiskey you'll ever have in your life. Smokes Jack Daniels out of the water. He goes, "Yeah, I got something for you." Walks in with a Weller 12-year unopened bottle. He goes, "Here." Pour it cups up, pours us each 3 shots, three fingers each. I'm like, this is phenomenal. We're outside taking pictures. It's like -7 wind chill in the middle because it's a army wedding. It's in the middle of January, and so I'm out there, and my boy's like, "How are you not freezing?" I'm like, "I've had 4 drinks of whiskey. I feel phenomenal right now." Like there's a photo. It's actually my Facebook profile picture of me holding my best friend up. While I'm just like this, I'm smiling. My fly's down. It's a whole thing. And if you wouldn't even look at it, but you look down like, oh, Jared's fly's down. Great in his Facebook profile picture. I feel like that just so perfectly sums up that
I
night.
can't unsee that now. I can't unsee that. Just that image in my head. Like whenever I think of Jared, I think of that photo.
Well, I mean, it's so funny. Also, my best friend he's 185 pounds of solid muscle. Like the kid is literally a human muscle. And it's crazy. The kid runs like sub 12-minute 2 miles, like out of control numbers, push-ups and chin-ups for days. Roughly benches the same as me. So
Breathe.
Yeah, sorry, I just slugged down a ton of water.
Breathe, don't die on me now.
Yeah, I was like, they were asking me that we were all hanging out at the bar, and one of his brother-in-law, who's got a little bit of a, he likes to talk about his ego when he's lifting. He's a good guy. He just, he gets in the gym, he gets jacked. He's like, "Oh, what do you lift?" And I'm like, "Oh, my shoulder's not shot like 330." He goes, "What?" I'm like, "Yeah, just naturally can just bang out 330 without even trying." And he goes, "What's your 225?" I'm like, "I can do like 20 reps if I really go at it." I'm like that. He goes, "What the hell?" And this is the thing. We were at like 5 a.m. lifting sessions one morning. Like back when we were both working at the same company. We were there like 5:15 in the morning. I have no caffeine in my system. I'm half asleep. I hop on the bench, 225. I'm like 3 sets of 15. And the guy next to me is looking at me. He's like, "What the hell is wrong with you?" I'm like, it's just that crazy red knight Pollock strength. I can't figure it out, man. I love it. And this is like with like a bad shoulder and a bad elbow. The elbow's healed, the shoulder's almost there. And I'm just like, what? I'm like,
Whatever.
I'm tired of this BS.
This is bull crap.
I was like, I want to go back to sleep.
I want to go to bed, Mom.
I hate this job. That was my exact wording some mornings. I get up and my buddy be looking. He's like, why are you so pissed? I'm like, I got to go to work after this. How do you think I feel? You get to go play around in big machines all day. I got to pretend to care what these landscapers are complaining about when it's their own stupid fault they screwed up.
I'm tired of this, Grandpa.
That was my favorite. Yeah, that was my favorite part of the job, was hearing how stupid some landscapers get. And I've met some landscapers who are like rocket scientists. These guys are way too smart for their own good. And then I've met ones who will F up the same 6 thing in a row, and every 6th time will come back and blame it on me or my material I sold them. And I just sit there, I'm like, hey, my favorite was putting mulch down the day before a rainstorm. That was my favorite thing on the planet, because then they'd come back and they're like, oh, well, my mulch is all screwed up.
What happened?
It's like, hey, genius, we dyed it yesterday. You put it on the ground yesterday. We dyed it 2 days ago. You put it on the ground yesterday, and we had a biblical downpour. No wonder the dye wore out. It didn't sit in long enough.
You dip.
You should have promised your customer that. It wouldn't have mattered if we let it sit for a month. or using too small of a rock for a walkway and having it wash out. That was my other.
Oh boy!
Like, I'm like, hey, do you know how physics works, pal? Like, I
Jared going on a rant is one of my favorite characters of this program.
Dude, I can complain about my favorite one is still the homeowner who demands perfection from a catalog, and the landscaper comes in after the vegan. I'm like, buddy, I'm gonna give you what I can. He goes, I appreciate that. She's out of her effing mind. I'm like, I love her. And this is my mother, when she hired my parents hired a bunch of contractors last year to work on their house. Obviously my parents are, one's retired, one's retiring in a few years, whatever. And this is their house. Like, they want to spend a lot of their retirement years in. And so they're doing a lot of work on it. And they're asking all these questions about what to expect, what to ask when it comes to tipping people. And I'm like, listen, as long as you treat them with respect and not ask for like bullshit stuff, it shouldn't be fine. Like, I had a customer the other day for a move, and they were like, are we like unprepared? I'm like, you guys have 0 boxes. You have maybe 35 pieces of furniture. Your storage unit was bigger than it was supposed to be, but it's all big pieces that we could all move on dollies. This is easy. And you guys tipped us $100. Like, it bought us donuts. You guys are amazing. We have customers who don't tip us shit, who yell at us the entire time, who second guess every move we make, and don't even like turn the AC on. And then and then like they wonder why we apparently hit a speed bump on the way up with our glass stuff in the back. And it's the whole, and I guess this translates over to like a service industry, because my sister's a beverage manager at a big restaurant chain in the Northeast. And she says to me, and like, I'll hear stories about customers.
They're horrible.
And I'm like, people just understand, like, you get what you give. You treat customers like shit, I will bet $50 there is something wrong with your dish.
Oh man,
like a scene from Waiting where like
I was gonna say that.
I mean, it's not gonna be like that, but maybe it sits out for an extra 5 minutes. It gets a little stale. Maybe
you piss off the bartender too. They will piss in your drink.
Yeah, maybe not piss in the drink, but they'll definitely pour you a flat beer.
Yeah, or a bubbly one. Oh, it's bad. So
I got carbonation issues, so I have to hard dump every beer I drink.
Oh, that's a horrible feeling.
Honestly, no, it's actually not. And actually, I listened to Ron Tafford, right?
Yeah.
So he did a whole video about like what happens if you like you smooth pour a beer and then you put a napkin in it. It actually erupts the whole thing. It's the craziest video.
Really?
So I started hard dumping my beers about 3 years ago because I was having a lot of issues with my stomach in terms of like dealing with carbonation. I feel like I blow it up like a balloon. No issues.
Really?
Yeah, and so the tap at a bar takes away that issue. Because there's something in the concoction, the chemistry or whatever, where if a beer's on tap, it comes in cleaner and there's a lot less excess carbonation. Yeah.
Science with Jared.
Yeah, beer science, right?
Beer science with Jared. 2 blue-collar guys doing a podcast.
Well, that's like the crazy. So like I started hard dumping my beers, and like I get my balls busted for it every time I do it. I'm like, oh, it's okay. I can have about 15 more of these. Let's see how you're feeling after 4 there, cupcake. And it's just, and And it's usually like my cousins who are like the most, and I love them all to death. But some of them can act like the most basic white women, even though they're not, and they have a lot of character, and they're very, but they have very basic white girl tendencies. And some of them are like, why are you hard dumping your beer? And I'll tell them, listen, like, it's because I know how my body reacts to beer. I know what I want to do. I want to have 12 beers tonight. I know if the only way I'm going to do that is dropping them all hard in like that, especially like an IPA or less. Once you do like a stout, you can hard dump it. It's not going to make a difference. It's not, it has, I think an IPA has, I think, like an 18th of the carbonation of like a Miller Lite, which is nuts.
Beer science with Jared.
Well, I'm just making round up numbers here, but it's like if you, so like one of the things I heard was you never shotgun a Michelob because it's got like 1.5 times the carbonation of a regular light beer because it's to hide up the lack of actual taste to it. I found this out the hard way when I was in college trying to shotgun back-to-back Michelobs at a beach party, and the burp I let out was like nuclear.
Oof. Dangerous game. I got a couple questions for you before
listen, I was waiting for the question. I'm sorry I ranted so much.
No, you're good. You're good. Right. That's the beautiful part. 25 minutes of Jared rambling is better than 25 minutes of nothing. It's just
all right.
So one of the questions I wanted to ask you was, who is Jared Klim? If you had to give like a synopsis of yourself, go off for like 5 minutes and just say, who is Jared? Who is Jared Klim, the person?
I'd say I'm a pretty good friend, son, brother, and nephew. Work hard when I actually give a crap. If I don't work hard, it's not you, it's what you're telling me to do. Love baseball, golf, watching all the sports. Love my Eagles, my Diamondbacks, my Hurricanes, particularly. All the tertiary, secondary sports like hockey and basketball are kind of like, yeah. Like hockey, I can't remember the last time I watched a hockey game. My team has 3 titles since I was born. So it's like, yay! I think the last time I watched when they won the Stanley Cup in 2016. I love having a good time. I'm a suburban redneck through and through. And I love, I love enjoying life, man. I think life is the most precious thing on this planet. And I love, going to church and like realizing the gift that is breathing every day. So it's kind of a cool thing I've discovered over the past year. And I'm still the same obnoxious human being. I just have a little more, soul behind it.
More an ease tone, essentially.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, listen, it just depends on how much alcohol is in my system.
When you mentioned church and you mentioned religion, you mentioned the Bible and everything that goes along with it. How did that journey start? Were you born into it? Were you raised into it? Did you discover it? Did you discover it later on in life?
It's a doozy. So I was raised Roman Catholic with my father, Polish Roman Catholic family, passed down from like my grandfather, Matthew, down to my dad and my aunts and uncles. A lot of my cousins still go to church to the day. I dated a girl in high school that was a little, not anti-church, but she was like skeptical. And I would stop going to church on Sundays in high school, especially in college, because, just there's no churches in New Haven, Connecticut, where I liked or were close to me that I was like comfortable going to.
Mm-hmm.
And then I got out, still kind of just was doing my own thing. And then like I'd still go to like holidays and I still go to like a couple masses occasionally with my dad. And I always kind of feel a sense of peace there. And a couple of years ago, I was having a rough time with a job I had. I had a boss who was just on me constantly. And it just seemed like there was no end in sight. It was like I was living my own personal hell. I was having a lot of struggles. And I would be praying. I would read New Testament readings and reading Bible scripture. I had this little green New Testament book my dad gave me and praying because it was the only thing I could do, I felt like, to get through the day. And so that kind of started bringing me back a little bit. And I started feeling a little more connected. I started seeing as like it became more widely accepted, especially among our generation, to go back to church. Because when our generation was in our teenage years, it was not accepted. We were kind of looked at as like either hateful or bigoted or pariahs or odd or goody. It was all these weird stereotypes that really never truly made sense to me. And so then this year, prior in February, I was going through a real rough patch. Best friend was moving away, obviously, to go serve our country. Other best friend was getting married. Financially, I was struggling a little bit. Had no direction. Was striking out job apps left and right. The only thing I had going for me was my Philadelphia Eagles at that point. They just made it to the Super Bowl. And I was kind of struggling with a lot of things in life. So my father said, go talk to the priest at our church. And this priest, Father Sullivan, he's an amazing man. And he kind of turned me out for an hour. Ironically, this is literally, I think, 72 hours before my grandmother died. And I find it ironic that as she's about to pass is when I start going back to church. And so ever since that week, I've made the effort. I think all of 2-3 weeks since that week, I've made it to church in some synopsis. Either going by myself or going my old man or my family in total. So it's and I've been I've gone to confession 2-3 times now. I actually can say I actually fully remember like the Hail Mary and the act of contrition and the Our Father and all this stuff. And getting back into my Roman Catholic faith, it's kind of been kind of a nice, almost kind of empowering feeling a little bit. And I do kind of catch a lot of strays from a lot of people still thinking of the old ways we used to think when we were in like high school, middle school. Where it's like, oh, he's Catholic, he's bigot, he's this. And I'm like, no, listen, like, and deep down, this is how I truly feel. I am not one to judge you unless I've walked a mile in your shoes. That is the way I look at life. Unless I've walked exactly where you are right now and I reacted better, in my opinion, I have no ground to stand on. I could make a comment. I could say, oh, I wouldn't do that. But I cannot truly judge you as a man or as a woman or whatever you are without walking a mile in your shoes. Now, if I find your like behavior deplorable or hurtful or just downright evil, oh, that's a whole different story. But if you're making conscious decisions in your own life and you're self-sabotaging yourself, I can't judge you off of what I see unless I've walked a mile in your shoes. And that's the biggest thing I've kind of discovered through this church. And also, I'm kind of finding more of an inner peace with this. I guess rediscovering my faith in with Catholicism has definitely kind of brought back a little bit of, I guess, soulness to a part of me that felt very empty the past, I'd say, 10, 15 years. So
what was the emptiness like for the past 10, 15 years? How would you describe it? Because
I guess a loneliness, a lack of hope. I always felt like there was something giving me hope, even when things get really bad. You know, you really want to kind of. Some people can just curl up in a ball, and I'll admit there are some days where you just don't want to get up and give life a swing. But like, you know, and this is, I think, a lot of where a lot of men's mental health awareness month is June, and I have a couple of my friends who have tried to take that last step, and thank God they didn't, and they missed. You know, I've gotten in situations where I felt like I was a couple steps from that step. Never got that deep, but it got bad. And one of the things that there was always some hope, something in me always kind of gave me hope of things to improve and things would get better if I kept pushing, right?
Yep.
And so it turns out that hope was in God, Jesus Christ, the Roman Catholic Church, and my faith in the Lord and the Holy Spirit. Now, I am a new school Catholic in the sense that I always look at everything through two lenses of as a Catholic born and raised and also as a skeptical man who never looks at anything without wanting to understand more. So, because I feel like us as Catholics or as even Christians in general have the obligation when we're talking to either atheist non-believers or people who believe in a different side of the same coin, whatever, that we have to explain ourselves in a way that's not saying that we're going to basically oppress you if you don't have our views. I had a great conversation with a Buddhist the other day. It was phenomenal. I was converted to be a Buddhist, and I respect a lot of things about Buddhists because there's so much cool and good they want to do in the world, and I get everything about it.
Yep.
And I kind of, and he equated to it. He's like, there's a lot of similarities in the teachings of what Buddha wants and what Jesus Christ wanted. And I think that people have to understand that Yeah, everyone, like, when they talk about Catholicism, they talk about the slime balls up in Boston with the whole spotlight incident, or they talk about, the Crusades, which, by the way, were retaliation. They were not an aggression. You want to go look that up. It's actually a very interesting story how the Crusades were in retaliation to an attack. They were not actually aggression. But there's a lot of hate and anger towards the Catholic Church. And let's be honest, they are not without sin. Not by any stretch. And I think the part of it is, at the end of the day, that you have to look at the Catholic Church and the Catholic faith of what it was intended to be from Jesus himself and from the very first Pope, Simon Peter, and then on. Yes, it's been perverted and colluded, and it's kind of been brought back to the light, and there's been dark spots. In every religion, there's darkness, and there's people looking to utilize their religion to take power. And those people are not true believers. They're not true, I guess, disciples of God, Jesus Christ. They're more of the ones who try to hitch their wagon to gain their own power in this life, not the next. And I think at the end of the day, you have to look at it from this perspective. In all honesty, it's just about being a good person to other people and understanding of what you see around you and be willing to stick up for what's right, even if it's not always what's easy. And I think that's the biggest thing about it. So I see something that I don't like, I will stick up for that person or that thing because I know it's the right thing to do in my heart and in what I've been taught from a very young age from my parents or from my church, my faith. So that's kind of what I've learned from it in a sense.
My grandmother, who was Irish Catholic, she was a big proprietor of there's no such thing as perfection. No such thing.
Only person that's perfect in this entire existence of human history is Jesus himself.
She made a comment that pissed off her church one time. It pissed off her church group, and it was, no one is perfect. We are all flawed no matter which way, shape, or form. Even God himself was flawed. For example, he made our asses. And
a funny joke.
Which it's a funny joke, but when you think about it in retrospect, it kind of makes sense because
we're taught from a young age there's only one thing is perfected. That's Jesus. That's it. They're, like, everything else has a flaw to it. That's the whole point of, like, sins and everything else. Like, he died on the cross for our sins of pure heart, and that was pure heart. I can't remember the exact wording, but pure heart and soul, or whatever it was. And that was to, that's reconciliation for what we've done and what we will do as a human race. So to think anything else is just not, to me, just doesn't feel right.
I hear you. And I'm the kind of person that, like yourself, I will hear everyone out. I will I will listen to every side. I'm the kind of person that doesn't particularly pick sides.
Yeah.
I will hear you out no matter what. If your theory makes sense, okay, cool. I'll hear you out. If your hypothesis or story makes sense, okay, I'll still hear you out. Whatever. That's how I am, because I don't know. We in particular in this society, in this world, we're so used to, especially on social media and not even the real world,
the worst invention ever to mankind for our mental health with social media.
And it gets worse when you get to the "I will die on this hill" mindset.
Yeah, and I think in this, you could even equate this to politics, and this is something I hate. And this is why and you've known this, except for a cute little funny, like little tease shot here and there, there's no political talk welcome on my show. It's an instant kickoff.
Join the club. Me too.
I have actually kicked somebody off my show before or told them not to come back until they get their crap together. Some of my friends who are very political people know not to bring it up. They'll apologize in advance. I'm like, keep it quick, keep it snippy, keep it vague. I don't want to hear it. I don't care. I look at sports as an escape. It is something we can enjoy together. Okay, so example, Philadelphia, one of the most Democrat cities on the planet, right?
Yep.
I am a constitutional libertarian that kind of leans to the right. If you couldn't figure that out by now, you have not listened to my show. But I get along with Eagles fans famously. Why? We have a common denominator. Dallas sucks. And go Birds. Like that, like if that doesn't tell you everything you need to know about how I can walk up to a random stranger who I've never met before, share a cigarette, random story, right? Cheer on the same 53 guys in midnight green and white and yell at Cowboys and Commanders fans, tell them to go back to Washington or whatever, and go back to my night and not know what these people vote for politically, who they lean with in this war, who candidate they voted for, because I don't care.
Yeah.
And this is the problem. People go looking for things to get angry on social media and with politics.
Oh, jeez.
And it's something that drives me insane. Now, I see things on social media that drive me insane. It's more people being awful to other people.
For no reason.
And getting away with it.
For no reason.
And the only thing I tell myself is that, unfortunately, they may not catch their bullet in this lifetime, but they will catch it in the next or where they're going. That is what you have to leave it up to God, the universe, and if you believe in it, karma.
Didn't Mike Tyson say something like, hey, social media has become a place where people are comfortable saying whatever they want and not get punched in the face for it?
Yeah, keyboard
that
warriors.
That was Tyson, right?
Keyboard warriors is a real issue.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And there was a Boise State football player who's talking in an interview. I can't remember what podcast it was, but he's talking about how there is nobody who catches more flack and he feels worse after a loss than a collegiate athlete.
Oh God!
And it
horrible.
And dude, as much as like I went to Miami Boston College 2 years ago, right? When Miami blew Boston College's doors off. It was Tyler Van Dyke's last game. I got to watch Cam McCormick, played 8 years in college football. I watched him drop a pass. I yelled out from the second row, field level, McCormick, you suck. Your hands are awful. Dude looks right at me. 6'6" Cam McCormick looks right at me in my Ray Lewis throwback jersey with my crazy looking hick beard, and I froze. I'm like, This man could beat the snot out of me. I will not take back what I said because he should have caught that ball. He would have walked into the end zone. But did I at that point realize, okay, this is what reality is, not like me typing this in a tweet. Like I have typed out multiple times during a baseball season about my Arizona Diamondbacks. Arizona, that was pathetic. But at the end of the day, I still root for my boys. I would go to war for my Snakes every night, okay? Like I have told a Mets fan that I hope his team gets the curse of 1,000 deaths for throwing the game last year, 162. I told a Mets fan that to his face, and it was the funniest thing ever because he's like, you guys, I'm like, because y'all are the reason the Dodgers won the World Series. Why? I'm like, because they don't beat us. They're terrified of us. You win. And the guy looked at me all dumbfounded. I'm like, it's what it is. Some people just have real estate in other teams. But I love sports because to me, sports is an escape. Sports is something that people can come together. It's the great uniter. You can walk up to a Cowboys fan at a bar and let's say there's a Giants game on, right? And you're both like, oh, F the Giants, go. Let's say they're playing the Panthers. Go Panthers. And it's the great uniter, okay? Because everyone's always got a common enemy or a common cause, and it's so great. And it could be anything. Okay, what do Tennessee fans and Auburn fans have in common? They both hate Alabama. What do Alabama fans and Tennessee fans have in common? They both hate Georgia. What do Miami fans and Florida fans have in common? They both hate 99% of the Southeast. It's the same thing. It's a great gift that sports is to us. It's competitiveness. It's healthy competition. It's even sportsmanship to a degree. And it is a way for people who may have not had a shot to make their lives explode to do it, whether that's in media or working the event or actually being a player. And this is why I hate, and I understand making public statements about something you believe in a cause, but you cannot get mad at people for not wanting to get away because they may feel the same as you, but they may have just gotten in a 6-hour argument with their wife or their kid or their daughter or their grandmother or their uncle or aunt or best friend about the same cause. And now you just turn them off from watching that sporting event because they came to watch this basketball game or this baseball game to get away from this issue. they may be leaning towards it, and then seeing this, like, oh, great, now I hate these guys. Oh, they're ruining. Now, I'm not saying this is for everybody, because I think everyone has a right to an opinion. I think everyone has a right, and it's protected by the First Amendment. If you don't like it, get out of this country, because the First Amendment is all absolute. I wrote a damn 14-page paper on it in college as a journalism major. So when people say that that's hate speech, I'm sorry, that is still protected by the First Amendment. I don't care what way it is. Is it messed up what somebody says? Whether they talk about people deserve. I saw one tweet say people deserved what happened on 9/11. It made my skin crawl.
Oof.
But is it protected? Sort of. It's a privately posted thing. That's where you get no gray area. But if you say that in public, or you write it on a sign, nobody can stop you. So it's the unfortunate truth about hate speech versus freedom of speech. It's the same side. It's two sides of the same coin, unfortunately. And that's the worst part about it, but it's also the best part. It's what makes this country great. Yeah, it may suck what happens, but it's up to the court of public opinion to ridicule them, not the government. That's what makes this country great.
Amen to that. Amen to that, Jared. How did you get your journey started in podcasting? Because you mentioned your journalism. You mentioned you're a journalism major. Did it start around college, after college, or was it just like, you know what? I'm going to start this. I'm going to throw a dart at a wall at a topic or a hobby and see. And wherever the dart lands on, I'm going to start that topic. I'm going to start that hobby. Was it like that, or was it just hey, this is what I want to do. I'm going to go for it.
It zigs and zags, man. So I was a journalism major in college. I always wanted to be like the next Colin Cowherd. That was like my goal growing up.
Yep.
I loved the sports talk show. I thought it was a cool idea. This is before First Take ruined it for everybody.
Thank you.
And Speak for Yourself and whatever dumb show that Joy Taylor runs. I can't not stand her. Even though her brother is like one of the best coaches Miami's had in years of defensive line. Anyway, I started as a journalism major. I signed up for the radio station at my school, and I did a weekly show, Klim's Corner, where I would just discuss sports, and I would just do it the way I wanted to do it. And, we pick games, talk about big topics, whatever. And I had a litany of freaking co-hosts over the years, because I'm not an easy person to get along with. I'm an acquired taste. I am energetic. I can be opinionated. And I like things a certain way, and I don't throw a hissy fit if I don't get them, but I make it known that I don't like what's going on.
You're also too real, and some people don't.
I have zero filter when it comes to telling you what's going on.
And some people can't handle that. And you know what? At the same point, there is a one finger salute aimed right towards you.
What's crazy is I used to not be like that. In college, I was kind of nervous about being like that, but I kind of went through a lot of character growth in college. At least I thought I did. I did a little broadcasting. I did a lot of basketball and a lot of football games, doing color play-by-play, mostly color commentary on basketball, on football, and play-by-play on basketball, which was really fun. It was a good time. So my college was very good at football, and they were very good at basketball when I was covering it. So it was kind of entertaining to watch them actually win games. After college, I kind of was just done with it for a little bit. Everything that happened with, I was with the radio station. It was a group of guys. We were all really tight, and out of nowhere, I was basically kicked to the curb out of this friend group. Me and one other guy. Ironically enough, that guy works for a professional radio station. None of those guys do. I find that hilarious. By the way, shout out to my boy Eric. Eric, what up, buddy?
Yeah.
He works for I believe it was I-95 or maybe it was, I can't remember. There's two big rock stations in Connecticut. It's I-95 and the other one, I can't remember. Anyway, great dude. Me and him both kind of got jettisoned from this friend group. And I kind of put a bad taste in my mouth. And at the same time, I picked up a job. I was looking for any kind of jobs to prove myself to people around me, to the girls I was talking to, whatever. And I took this job at New York Life selling insurance. And I was like, financial planning. I could do this. And I kind of put football and sports on the back burner. I still enjoyed it, but I kind of didn't really touch on it. That job ended awfully. Drained my savings account twice. Left with my tail between my legs. Took some gigs doing landscaping. Finally got in at the moving company I work at now. This is actually the first time I was there. And my cousin's husband, new cousin-in-law, like they got married like a month earlier, texted me out of the blue, "Hey, would you want to write for this website?" And before everyone freaks out, yes, I used to be a writer. I have, I think, 5 articles under my name at Belly Up. I think my last was like 2019 I wrote. And I wrote an article about why college football needs like more turnover chains and needs more Johnny Manziels and, you know, less of the traditional play like a champion today, yada yada yada, BS, whatever.
More personalities, yes.
So I may have predicted the future. We don't know yet. And so I wrote a couple other ones. I ranked like top 10 wide receiver in the NFL. I did all these other crazy ones, right? And so I enjoyed it. And so I caught the eye of one of the guys who was on the show. He comes in and out of Belly Up occasionally, and he had the show going on. We want to talk college football. He said, "I need you for like a half hour, maybe an hour max." We went for 2 hours to talk college ball.
Wow.
Top 25 rankings. We talked about every single team. And so I was like, this sounds awesome. I reached out. I was like, "Hey, listen, I want to start a podcast." So my cousin-in-law was down for family anyway because his in-laws live 20 minutes that way. So he came down from Massachusetts while his wife was, you know, hanging out with her parents. He came out and talked to me, talked about needing a microphone, needing this, needing that. And so I kind of dragged my feet a little bit because I was going through some other stuff. But I finally kicked off my podcast. I found this other co-host named Mark Riley. He worked at Belly for a little bit. But ironically, he got into financial planning. He actually is good at it, so he's doing okay right now.
Yeah.
Shout out Mark. But me and Mark started the show, and it started off just And by the way, if I didn't start this show, the other thing I was doing was I was actually looking at recruiting centers for the U.S. Marine Corps to go in as a commissioned officer because I had a college degree. That was my plan. I was going to try it out, do a 4-year tour. I'd be 26 by the time I got out. I'd see the world. I'd do all these other things. I'd kind of get a new perspective, right? I was looking at recruiting office. I think there was one in Danbury, Connecticut, right down the road from me. And I was looking at it. I was, I had the link saved in my phone. I was going to give him a call, and I did the podcast with Mark one night, sold it. It was hilarious. We were wasted during the first 4 or 5 shows. People don't remember this, but one of the shows, we had this good director of marketing for this sleazy gambling company that worked for us for a little bit. And this guy canceled on us and made us wait 4 hours to interview. And we finished the show at like 7. It's 11 o'clock before he gets on. Bear in mind, I had the day off next day. So me and Mark had been drinking, but Mark was drinking light beer. I was slamming back Space Dust, which is an 8.2 double IPA, which is just super sweet. I had 5 in that 4-hour span. I was so drunk by the middle of the interview, I couldn't complete a sentence, and I kept talking in circles. So I finally, because I could still text apparently, I was that in weird spot. So I texted Mark. I'm like, "I am too drunk to complete a sentence. You need to finish this interview. I'm so sorry." All I hear in the background is him muffling up, him dying laughing. And progression of, hey, drink a little less, have a better take here, stand by your takes, be more energetic, be more genuine, bring more attitude to it. And it kind of worked itself down. Now, I'm 6 years in to the Korner Booth as of November 1st.
Woo!
No, 7 years. 7 years as of November 1st. I have had definitely a multitude of co-hosts leading for reasons that are either my fault or most of them actually for once are usually they're pursuing other endeavors. But I will say this, it's been really fun. It's definitely my calling. And the more and more people I talk to at iHeartRadio or at these bigger networks, so I have the opportunity to talk to these guys who have their own podcast. And I was like, listen, podcast is an unfiltered, unsanctioned, unwavering way to get your word out there. You don't need a broadcasting degree or a contract to get on the phone and to bullshit with your buddy. And it kind of, as much as people are like, "Oh, this is awful," it sometimes brings up some of the best sports takes I've ever seen and some of the worst. I think no industry itself has been more affected positively from podcasting than sports. I think maybe the only one is maybe politics, because now you don't hear obviously the legacy media either side of the aisle.
Mm-hmm.
And with sports, you get unfiltered opinions. Some of them are biased, some of them aren't. And so I think that's where I kind of found my calling. Now, my other part of my calling is I love doing what I do with, like, obviously with you and other guys at Bike, where I work to try to build the network through building better podcasts.
Yep.
Because to me, I feel just as happy, or maybe for 51, my show succeeding, 49, everyone else is succeeding. You know, obviously, you got to be a little unhealthy competitiveness to, you know, be successful in this industry. And I'm a little bit of a psychopath in that aspect. But yeah, don't get in my way on something. Like I've told people this before. When I'm competitive, don't try to like reason with me. There is a insatiable hunger. Like I don't want to, like I just don't. So my senior league baseball team I'm playing right now. We won our first game. We're 1-11 now. We were our expansion team. We're awful, right? Not a lot of chemistry. Not a lot of us have played together. We won our first game on Sunday. I gutted out an injury to win the game. I made some errors in the field at first base, but I was, suffering through pain. But I also went 2 for 3 with 3 RBIs and a stolen base. So, like, to me, I was like, I was willing to give my hamstring to win that game. Because I was like, F these guys, I want to get the win. So I have the kind of mentality about a lot of things. And sometimes, yes, Dan, that can rub people the wrong way because I don't like losing at things. And so, but the key part of me is I've got to register it as me losing. I think that's always been my biggest issue. Like, it's like, oh, Jared, you came in like 8th in the podcast standings for views this month. I'm like, I came in 11th last year. It's an improvement. But like once I start smelling the top 5, and I'm like, oh, F these guys. I want to have the highest views. And it's not like F these guys. Like, I hope everything awful happens. It's like, nah, like I want to beat them after the show, after the ratings. They're still my boys, but at the same time, like I want to beat them. So, like Dan, if you and me ever got a ratings competition, I'm like, oh, F Dan, I want to beat his ass. Like it's not because I don't like you. It's like because like I'm in competition with you, and
friendly competition. Yeah,
that's the way I'm wired, and I get yelled at for it. Sometimes like, why are you so aggressive, dude? Games of NCAA in like our dynasty league, I'm getting upset with somebody because I'm like I'm losing. I'm like because I don't like to lose at anything. Like it, so because I full honest to God opinion, I've lost a lot in life. I've lost the things here. I've lost the things there. But, you try to learn from them. So, in summarization with the whole podcasting thing, it kind of was an avenue for me to kind of bring my love of sports and love of the arena of sports and love of my competitiveness and everything else to a platform where I just have to turn on my laptop, crank up StreamYard, turn on my mic, and go. Yeah, it takes more planning than that, as you have learned as I've been coaching you, but it's something to build off of. So that's, I guess, where I like it. It's something I can build and feel like I'm doing something. So Thursday, I had no guest. Matt was a half hour late because he had family issues. Nate's Wi-Fi died. I went 30 minutes solo by myself for the first time since, I think, 2018. Without hesitation.
Scary feeling, right?
Nah.
Good man.
Bring it.
Good man.
F it, bring it.
Good man.
And I totally called out my guest who bailed on me on live. I think he watched it because he hasn't texted me back since. And I was like, good, dude. You kind of screwed me and you gave me a BS excuse. And so I get some, and I called out a buddy of mine who is a well-known podcaster and TikToker. I called him out and said, listen, you big time me with your response, and then your little picks competition that I won, you cheated me. Where's my pair of Jordans that I was obligated to winning? I don't care if you had too many winners and not enough prizes. It's not my fault. But at the same time, it's like I don't take it lightly when you slight somebody because they're not the same status as you.
You mentioned earlier, to cut you off, earlier.
I had answered your question and I started ranting. So
no, you're good. You are golden. That's the beauty of BS session, which is go off, son. You mentioned earlier that you went through some hard times in the last 10, 15 years or something like that. Can you give an example of, hey, this was a really hard time in my life, and this space saved me from it?
year and a half ago. I was probably 330 pounds. I was losing my hair. Was falling out from psoriasis, black psoriasis on my noggin. If you actually look right now, see like my hair is still thinned here. It's coming back, but it was way worse. Like you could see all the way back to the top of my skull. I had a boss that was, I wouldn't say verbal. He was verbally berating me daily. It was a job that I was putting 100% effort into, and I just could not go and put everything together. It was always something I did wrong, and I was in a lost spot. And whether it was seeing family, whether it was going back to church for Easter that one Sunday, whether it was talking to a buddy of mine here at Belly Up, shout out to my boy Kelsey, and me and him had this whole hour and 15-minute conversation while I'm watching my team beat the shit out of his team in baseball. Go Diamondbacks, beat the Giants. And, you know, I'm talking with him while I'm doing that and playing MLB The Show, and we're shooting the shit, and I'm just kind of like, dude, I hate where my life's at. And he goes, well, what are you going to do to change it? What did I do the first thing? I basically went into my meeting where I was going to get ripped apart by the CEO and my boss. Said, yeah, I'm demoting myself. I'm putting a gamble on myself in this podcasting thing and finding a new job. I'm demoting myself. Wow. I bet on myself. Well, so full disclosure, I did the math in my head. The amount of hours I was working, if I demoted myself back down to hourly, I was making more money per week for doing half the work. And I knew my time was stamped there anyway, eventually. I think my window had closed for me getting promoted. So I basically had gone into this of looking, hey, I have to make a move. So my move was, let me take something off my plate and something I hate while still getting paid. And I still technically take some pride in this, so I'll do whatever. Let me, for the first time in years, actually enjoy my summer while making money. Let me start to lose weight. Let me start to put some work back into my physical body. And shout out to my best friend, Trevor, who got me to go to this crazy lifting gym, Iron Factory, which I will shout them out. Iron Factory Gym in Brookfield, Connecticut, by the way, best lifting gym in Connecticut, hands down. I will give them a free shout out every time because that gym probably saved my life health-wise, because I am 265 pounds now and I feel great. Like, I just worked outside in 97-degree heat and felt fine. I think I didn't even start to feel fatigued till like 3 o'clock in the afternoon.
Oof.
So that's what I've gained from that. And so on top of me demoting myself, switching gyms, looking at new philosophies in life, that's what it started. And unfortunately, what people understand, when you make these big changes, you have to be able to adapt. And this is something I didn't learn until about 7-8 months ago, or 4 or 5 months ago, when I took a job doing landscaping to help pay bills. Then I took a job doing demo to help pay more bills. And then, you know, helping friends out, doing their things. And like, you know, occasionally they throw me some cash, whatever. But it was that, along with me just, you know, having to go through the steps of being unemployed, right? And so maybe they'd pick up a lunch for me or whatever. Or you throw me like $50 doing extra work here or there. But, and then, you know, I got my dream job interview, right? And I killed it. All 3 interviews. I felt great. And so I was supposed to hear back in a week. 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks later, nothing. Emailed the guy who'd be my supervisor. He said, hey, listen, we should make our decision soon. Week and a half later, I get the email saying that I did not get it. An automated email, not even a legitimate person emailing me. So I emailed the actual guy back, said I didn't get it. I see you guys went in a different direction. Guy says basically, if like there's a job opens up, put me down as a reference. I will refer you. I'm like, I appreciate that. I really do. And that means I made a good impression. But it kind of taught me that like you kind of have to look at life from the perspective of like, not everything's going to be perfect. Timing's not always going to be great. You kind of have to take everything as it is. So I'm looking at right now my current opportunity, working as a mover, going to the gym 5 days a week, playing baseball on Sundays and Tuesdays, and being active constantly as an opportunity, like to get back down to like 215, 225 weight wise, where I've always wanted to be and feel healthy and feel good about myself physically and mentally. as I look for a new opportunity career wise. Obviously, you know, I want to make belly up my career, but you know, yeah, it takes time.
We all do. Trust me on that.
That takes time. So
yeah,
at the biggest thing at the end of the day was like, you know, being unemployed, basically being down to my last dollars and cents every week, not getting much money at all. And, you know, having to scrap off of what I got from unemployment and occasionally doing a side job for somebody helping them move something, or like getting some, like a financial gift from my parents or my grandparents, or whatever, just to kind of pay bills. That taught me, one, to be smart with everything I do and thinking about everything 4 steps forward. And when I finally got a new job, first job I've had since September, last week, as much as I hate being a mover, I am still grateful, and I still have gratitude for the fact that I have something to do in the morning. I have something to go. I just worked 12 hours in a miserable environment. Very sweet customer, good crew, but awful environment because everything was heavy, everything, it was hot, it was nasty, it was humid. But I am grateful because it's something I can do, and using gratitude, a positive attitude, and motivating by what I want to achieve, and understanding like this is positive steps to a common goal. That's what gets me through the things that 6 months ago, I don't know if I'd be able to do this. Like,
really,
that's the biggest thing. It's like, you got to understand, like, when people are hyper competitive, and I'll use me as an example, the line between feeling like you're doing something right and you're doing everything wrong is razor thin.
Yep.
There's no cleanness there. Like, listen, we've talked about what you do for work, right? You work in a very, very, like, it's a different hard grind field. You're a welder. You do all this great stuff. It's a good career, right? Some people like me, our career is not something where it's like, okay, and I envy guys who work in the trades. Because you know why? Yeah, you get the crap beat out of you, but you're always in demand. There's always something. It may not be perfect, but there's always something there.
There's always something.
Yeah, and the trades are the one thing will never expire, because you can't teach a robot how to weld something correctly.
Nope, you cannot. I told that too many times to people that work in the office field, and you can
office workers, office worker. I will say this right now: a lot of office workers who work in the blue collar sector, about 30% of them, they don't get it. Now, I had some great women who worked in the accounting department in my last job, and they were some of the best people on the planet. They understood what we were all going through, and they're great. I was an office person, but I worked outside enough in the yard, occasionally hopping on machines, loading people up, getting like things moved off pallets, assisting in doing deliveries, whatever. So I was a hybrid, I guess.
Yep.
These people understood what we all went through, what like, it means to be blue collar. But that's not always the case. And I think a lot of the time, I think people kind of just in the office look and say, we're in the air conditioning, we're in the heat, we're doing this. And it's kind of like, yeah, you're lucky. But,
yeah, every time I see people on my Snapchat stories, my Instagram stories, they say something like, "Oh, I don't understand how you can live in this heat." And I'm like, "Get out of your air conditioned office, you piece of garbage." And go work as a welder for 8 to 10 hours.
Go like I like guys who are in the army. Let's go throw on 20 pounds of pack, long sleeve shirt and pants. Yeah. And let's go on patrol in a country that hates us. It makes me crack up how
perfect timing.
How to touch people are.
Yep.
But yeah, at the end of the day, and I hate using the pull yourself up by your bootstraps acronym, because when you're at your worst, that's the one thing you don't want to effing hear. It's like, I know I got to pull myself up, but give me a second to catch a breather. But at the same time, I think some of the best advice I ever got was just like, even if it's not the step you want to take now, still taking a step forward is better than waiting for that shot to take the first step,
or better than taking those 2 steps back.
Yeah. Because you're going to fail, you're going to do this, but like, if you can find some way to make it a positive and learning experience. So yeah, I'm still firing off job apps left and right. Yeah, I'm employed again. Awesome. This is great. I have money coming in. Dude, you don't understand how great it felt. Like just go like paying off like bills last week with money that was actually coming in instead of draining out. I know I gotta get out of here in a couple minutes, but like that was like the biggest thing. Is like, you know, understanding the philosophy of just taking one on the shin and just walking forward. I guess the best way to summarize that rant.
We'll end this topic by we'll end this session by saying this. There's an old story that I would tell people, or I've heard somewhere before. It's the tale of the hammer and the anvil.
Mm-hmm.
And the two greatest teachers in life are failure and pain.
Mm-hmm.
Failure is represented by the anvil. Pain is the hammer. And sometimes these things need to happen in order to forge your sword into the weapon you want to become.
Mm-hmm.
And to quench your sword, or to heat up your blade, to heat up your metal into the shape you want it to be, you need fire. Fire's representation is anger.
Mm-hmm.
And it needs to happen.
Mm-hmm.
And to cool off your blade, you need fire, or in the blacksmithing world, it's oil. You quench it with oil. That's representation is sadness.
Mm.
These things need to happen in order to forge your blade into the perfect sword you need to be. Now, also, there are some times where that sword may crack or even break.
Yeah.
What do? You fix it.
Mm-hmm.
You 100% fix it.
Yeah.
And that's how your journey in life usually starts. You start from this tiny little piece of metal into this beautiful blade.
Yeah.
And it's never perfect. It is never the way you want it to come out.
Mm.
But you know what? It's your life. It's your sword. It's your mace. It's your piece of armor. However you want to live your life, you go do it. You go do it. That's it.
Yeah.
So, Jared, I appreciate you for coming. This was a blast, dude. This
yeah,
is
man.
hour and 10 minutes of a blast.
You know what's crazy? We talked sports for all of 10 seconds.
Probably. It was great.
Yeah.
That's the beauty of BS sessions is, hey, we can talk sports, you can talk whatever's on your mind, but as long as you're comfortable, that's what's most important. Jared, where can they find you in your show, bro?
They can find me, myself, and I at Korner Booth Jared on everything except X. X is Belly Up Jared. Got to get on Elon about letting me change that back, or whoever the hell owns X now. You can find all my amazing stuff and the scallywags I call teammates at the Korner Booth Pod. Matt and Nate are the best. We do live shows with a regular, like, buttoned up analysis on Mondays. That's Korner Booth Pod. And then us cutting loose, doing stupid shenanigans, and just having a good time. It's Thursdays. That's Korner Booth Pregame. That is at 7 on YouTube, X, and Instagram. Daniel, I appreciate you for having me on, my friends. Ironically, my number is 51, and this is episode 51. That was very funny to me.
Perfectly uncoordinated, too. I did not even know that until now.
I'm number 51, like everything. Like my username, even my work email for Belly Up is BellyUpJared51. I was like, yep, that's me.
Hey, ladies and gentlemen, from the northern state of Connecticut, my name is Dan Cruz. I'm coming to you from the beaches of lovely Long Island, New York. And I will see you all in this life and most certainly the next one. Cheers, ladies and gentlemen. Have a good night.